Welcome to another episode of Comics and Sweet Tea. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hey, thanks so much to all the new subscribers, all the past subscribers. You guys are spreading the good word, and I couldn't appreciate it more. It means the world. Thank you so much. Continue to do so. If you're new to the show, hey, hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a thing and does wonders for us. Hey, not only that, but leave a comment. Join, be a part of the conversation. If you've got a question, even if you're not watching this live, if you've got a question for myself or the creator that we have on at the time, uh, drop a question, and I promise you, we will get back to you because you guys are what we're doing this for. We're trying to put this information out there to not only help, I mean, just help other creators. That's what we're here for. We're here for the indie community. You guys are awesome. All the people that support us are just incredible. Thank you so much. Um, hey, YouTube has algorithms, and the big thing that is playing on right now is comments. So please do drop a comment, even if you just drop a wave in there or a great show, anything. It's much appreciated, and it does wonders for the algorithm and helps elevate the show, where we can get more eyes on this thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get as much people to see this thing as possible to help boost these indie creators and their projects. So anything you could do would be much appreciated. Give us a thumbs up too. That would be awesome. I've rambled on enough. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in this week's guest. I've got an awesome creator. Just met today, sort of. I've been admiring his work for a little bit. This will be his second Kickstarter. We're going to be talking some marching through Georgia with Andrew Loader. So without further ado, here's Andrew. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for being on the show, Andrew. Appreciate it, man. Hey, let's get right into it. Tell these guys about Marching Through Georgia.
Marching Through Georgia, the elevator pitch that I have is basically it's Django Unchained meets Evil Dead at the end of the Civil War in the swamps outside of Savannah, Georgia. It starts, if you're familiar with the Civil War, the Shermans marched through the sea, cut the Confederate Army in half, cut them off, from the supply line. Devastated most of Georgia, completely razed Atlanta to the ground. Ended in Savannah, where they actually preserved the city as a Christmas gift to President Lincoln at the time.
Wow.
My story takes place, some apparent Union deserters. There's a squad of soldiers sent after them into the swamps outside Savannah, and they find 3 of them hanging from a tree, stuffed up with straw like dolls, like voodoo dolls.
Wow.
From there, they proceed to investigate this old, reputedly haunted, mansion that they find out in the swamps, and then from there, story progresses. Yeah, that's where we are right now. I got the first issue just published. I ran a successful Kickstarter last year between November and December, and I just reached funding for my second issue, and I still have 10 days left on that. So if anybody wants to get in, there's all kinds of really cool, fun rewards like original artwork, and one of them that people really liked last time. I do the likeness of the backer or whoever they want as a Civil War soldier, like a portrait of a Civil War soldier.
Yeah, that was really cool. And hey, guys, while you're talking about that, I made it so easy. Once you're watching the show, you can go down here in the description, and I'm going to have the link that'll take you straight to the Kickstarter. You can jump on there and help Andrew see this dream come true. So be sure and do that. Jump down in the description and jump right on this thing. So anyway, Andrew, you were talking about last year with Kickstarter, and have you noticed anything different this year with this year's campaign?
It's the second issue, man. So there's almost half the backers this year around, and this time around, and I purposely made the goal a little bit less, but enough that I'll be able to actually fulfill the orders and print the books. But
Right.
yeah, man, and it was definitely slower the last one, since it was number one, and a lot of family and friends, and the word got out. I was able to fund that within the first 24 hours, and the second one it took
It's been a crawl.
20 days.
Yeah.
It's it's just a different beast, and it's about spreading the word to as many people as you possibly can. People talking to guys like you, and you know what I mean, like.
Yeah, and I tell you, I don't think it's got anything to do with it being your second Kickstarter because you're not the only creator seeing this. I've been talking with several of my friends in the underground, uh, the real indie comics, Image is considered indie comics, but they're not indie comics anymore. They become part of the corporation, part of the man or whatever.
Sure.
We're the real underground,
Yeah.
and everybody is seeing the same thing you're seeing with Kickstarter. We've been talking about several different things, looking at other avenues because I mean Kickstarter. They were kind of to begin with, they were for indie creators, but they pretty much Kickstarter seen they can make more money. I know you've seen Boom has done several Kickstarters on their projects here lately, and I mean they're not the only ones. David Finch has done one, which I back that. I mean David's a great guy. I mean he's he's doing it independently. Hey, his following they followed him. I mean that's what a following does. But I mean they're names, they're big names.
Yeah.
And of course, Kickstarter's going to be all for that because guess what? If those projects make more money, Kickstarter makes more money. It's a no-brainer. I mean, it's a win-win for Kickstarter. Why wouldn't they do it?
They're a business, man. That's what they're in for. Like just GI Joe. Yeah, it's like almost up to like $2 million.
It's ridiculous. It really is, and I understand it. I do. It's like we said, it's a business, but it sucks for us as independent creators because it's pushing us out.
Yeah. Yeah. But you got it's a hustle, man. It absolutely is. And putting this comic book together, I'm the sole creator on this thing. I wrote the whole thing. I got pencils, inks, colors, and now I'm trying to sell it.
I know exactly what you're going there, bro.
Yeah. Just raise the money myself, from my own funds to print it and distribute. So Kickstarter was there and it worked. So.
Right. I know exactly what you mean. I started out with my daughter co-writing mine, but of course, I did all the pencils, inks, colors, letters, you name it. I did it, and now I'm sole writing too. So I mean, it's all mine now. She just helped me get started and work out the dialogue on the first few issues, and now it's all my baby. It's all on my shoulders.
Yeah.
So I completely understand what you mean by that. And people don't realize, just how much we put into these, how much time actually goes into these books. Nobody, unless you've done it, you've got no idea.
Comic books are the greatest art form, man. You have
Definitely.
You have to be a writer. You have to be an actor. You have to be a master illustrator. Colorist, like it all plays. Like it's almost every aspect of creatives in one. Comics the best for sure.
So tell me about your introduction into comics. Did you grow up with them? I mean, walk us through that.
Yeah, man, just 80s kid. I liked GI Joe and He-Man growing up, and I guess the first real foray into comics for me was probably X-Men, man. Jim Lee's original X-Men #1, and leading up into that Greg Capullo stuff on like X-Force and things like that. But yeah, ever since then, man, my dad would take me after baseball practice to the comic book store or the 7-Eleven, and there was like the spinner rack, and like and bring them home and just try drawing from the comics, man, and just read them and getting like completely engrossed in those worlds. And I remember when Image first started, I was still living in El Paso, Texas at the time, so I was probably in like 6th grade. But I remember going and getting like like the Max #1 and thinking that was such an incredible thing that I was able to get like an issue with like a #1, not like because that was always like I mean Batman was on like 357.
Yeah, that was the dream to get a #1.
#1, man, that was
Yeah.
that was a big deal for me back then. But all those Image books when they came out, that was like such a like Spawn #1 and Gen 13, all that stuff.
And now Marvel and DC have a #1 about every other month. It feels like. Yeah.
Their universes all the time, man. Like, and that's fine. I want them to do well. I think if Marvel and DC are doing well, the comic book industry is doing well.
Exactly, because they are the industry. I mean, everything was founded off of those too.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that, man. Like, it is what it is. They're part of the industry that we are part of as well. I did a free comic book day at my local comic shop here in Collingswood, New Jersey, which is where I live. And the guy was talking how like he's seeing, like sales kind of slumping, like all the Marvel, their big grand things that they've been doing recently. And I'm not really too familiar. I sort of keep a tabs on like what's going on. I don't read them.
Right.
I don't need to see Spider-Man fight Green Goblin anymore, but I still, I love the history of it and all that. It's fun.
Exactly.
I think right now, I think Green Goblin is Spider-Man or something. Like,
oh, wow.
I don't even, but he said, that the last few, like, this guy that owns this comic shop, the last few, like, big Marvel and DC, whatever storylines just have kind of fizzled. And with it, the industry just kind of shrinking a little bit. And that's,
right.
I want to see them. I want to see them do well. And I want to see everyone else like you and yourself and me, like, rise the wave with them as well. So.
Yeah. I've talked with several people, about the industry in general. I think we're going through a change right now in the industry. I really do.
Yeah.
Nobody's really got it figured out just yet. You see a lot of creators leaving the big two and kind of doing their own thing, and that they see they can make the money without going through a publisher. They see they can make more money because, exactly, and create their own things.
Yes.
And I mean, that's good.
And there is right now a ton of quality content out there.
Man. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So much, but it gets sort of like people don't see it because
it gets muddled. Yeah,
a little bit
because there is so much out there right now.
Yeah, well, that's in like any like all content. There's just so much content in general right now.
Yeah,
vying for attention with video games and like all the Netflix shows and Hulu shows and Disney Plus shows, all that like
streaming in general. It's crazy.
Yeah. And also, actually, I think that's what Marvel Studios is facing is they obviously went way too much. They miscalculated how much people wanted, more Marvel, and they're now finally cutting back a little bit on that because it got real muddy. Like, I didn't watch all the most recent movies or all the shows, but from what I have heard, it
fell off. Yeah. It's disappointing too because I mean you watched it build through the Infinity Saga, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that in cinema ever again. What they accomplished with that, I don't. You can't top that. They're not going to top that.
No, I don't think they are going to, man. They certainly haven't done anything with it right now so far that has come anywhere close to that. Like,
right.
Galactus, I guess, would be the next Thanos level threat, but from what I've read, he'll be in the next Fantastic Four movie, like already. Like that seems premature, but who knows what.
I tell you though, I trust in Kevin Feige. I really do. As long as he's heading it up, yeah, he had some missteps because I mean he's one man. He can't oversee everything, and I think them taking a step back and slowing down will help him be more a part of these projects like he has in the past in the beginning of Marvel, and kind of take a hand back over this thing, get a hand back on the wheel, so to speak, and help guide the MCU forward, and that's only going to bring forth good things, Yeah,
it should. Yeah, and with that, I do think also just the fact that the sort of the movies and the shows have faltered so much, I think that might actually also have hurt the comic book sales.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that, and I tell you, yeah, I'm super excited for Fantastic Four. Everything I hear about this thing the more I learn about it, the more it gets me excited. And not only Fantastic Four, but X-Men, man. We're gonna get Marvel's X-Men.
Marvel's X-Men. So
They'll finally be done right.
So yeah, so for me, with the whole multiverse thing, I think that has just like so muddied everything, because if there's
It's fizzled. It didn't hit like they thought it would hit. It just confused folks, man.
if there's an infinite universes, then which one matters? Which one do we care?
Exactly.
How many universes did Thanos win? Probably quite a bit if there's an infinite amount of them, right? And
Right.
That's sort of like, makes everything sort of moot, everything that it was done, kind of, and everything that is continuing to be done. And that's another thing with bringing in the X-Men. It's looking like they're going to try to bring them in from another reality. Like, that to me sounds like a bad idea.
I don't know, man. I honestly, I don't think. I think we're going to learn a lot from Daredevil and Wolverine. I think that's going to be the end of the Fox universe, basically. That movie, you're going to see it. You're going to witness the end of the Fox universe.
Deadpool's literally going to kill it.
Yeah. And I honestly think they're going to cut just about complete ties with Fox and recast everybody.
Yeah, probably. And that's the whole idea of the multiverse. I know they were doing. They want to be able to recast Iron Man. They want to be able to recast marquee names. They want to keep playing those characters, so they want to be able to just sort of like, oh yeah, well, this is Captain America.
It's going to be a soft reboot, basically, to the MCU.
And again, like we said, I hope it's successful, because I think that helps the whole entire industry. So, yeah.
Exactly. So I ask everybody this: if you could see marching through Georgia transfer over to another medium, whether it be live action, a Netflix series, Hulu series, something like that, where would, if they come a knocking, where would you go with it? You could have either one. Where would you go with marching through Georgia?
Probably a television show. I just feel you can get such a better, feel for the entire story that way, and they could elaborate upon the story as well with the television show. With the movie, you have to cut so many corners.
Right.
Like this,
you get 2.5 hours if you're lucky.
Tops, man, like 90 minutes anymore, And for something like Martin Georgia, I can see them just being like, no, we just need to hit him with the demons, hit him with the the voodoo.
Yeah.
Let's go right now, like. And so this one would be able to play it out like I do in the actual. It's 5 issues,
right?
And then it starts sort of like the first issue sort of introduces the concept of characters, and nothing too untoward happens, but until the very end, sort of like, oh, this is kind of spooky, okay. But the second issue, boom, we're in, and like towards the end of that one, it gets pretty raw, but yeah. So for a television show, I feel like they could do it, like first couple, maybe like an 8-episode show or something like that. No more than that.
Yeah, get more of a slow burn.
Exactly.
Not exactly a slow burn, but take some time with the characters to really to develop the world you created and kind of flesh it out. Mm-hmm. You say they do an hour an episode. That's 8 hours versus an hour and a half to 2.5 as a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much more you can do there.
Yeah, for sure.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So tell me this: are you reading anything in comics right now, in mainstream or indie? If you want to shout out some indie creators, I mean,
Yeah, man.
Feel free.
The Dead and the Damned by Sebastian Gerner right now. He's been a guy that has been a really good resource for me, like kept me going while I've been creating this comic book universe here. But he just successfully, I guess, the second issue, just like yesterday, he had.
Yeah.
So The Dead and the Damned, number 1 and 2, Kickstarter. I think there's even an option now you can get into a Kickstarter even after it's been over. So that's still maybe a possibility. But at least you can grab the first issue and check that out too. The Dead and the Damned.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. I appreciate the heads up on that. I'm always looking for a new good indie book.
It's basically just a skeleton army devastating the world, and then the people fighting.
Hey, that's a no-brainer right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No-brainer, definitely.
Yeah. And I still search, anytime I'm at a shop or whatever, I look for the old Tales from the Crypt, like collected editions. I love.
Yeah. What about the old Vampirillas? I love those too.
What is it?
Vampirella,
Oh, for sure, man. Or and like any of those old like
the
creepy,
old Harris comics, stuff like that.
yeah, like Dark Horse stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the old stuff.
A Hellboy story that I haven't seen, but I'll check that out.
I'll pick up anything Mike McNulla's got his hands in.
Absolutely, for sure.
Well, talking about that, um, with your book going forward, you said you're going 5 issues, correct?
5 issues. Yep.
Now, are you planning on doing single Kickstarters all the way through, or
I wish I could just get it all like done and
do? Yeah, I hear you drop like a graphic novel and be done with it.
That's what I wanted to do initially, yeah, man. But that would have been a whole lot more money to raise up front, to get the whole thing.
Right.
I would like to have gotten done. So there is a reason the comic industry does it this way. It's a better way to do it. It takes so long, man. The process behind it naturally takes you like 3 or 4 or 5 months to get the book finally out in hands, and you start the process all over again.
Yeah. So jumping into that, and I ask a lot of creators this: how? And I have issues with it myself. How do you find the balance with all that between your day job, family, working on the book?
Time, man, time. So this book I started shortly after my first daughter was born, and she'll be 13 this July.
Wow.
That's how long I've been working on this thing, man. And at one point, I was like maybe 90 pages in, and probably had most of those actually like inked and colored and lettered and ready to go. And I was like, story sucks. It started.
Wow.
Like and as I had been working on it at that point, it might have been 3 or 4 years. I had just as an artist, and I could when I started writing the story, I never actually finished it. So I always just figured I would as I was going along, and that was obviously a mistake. But I just got better ideas, and I stopped after, like I said, 80, 90 pages, rewrote it from page 1. That's partly why it took me as long as it ended up taking me, but it was the right call for sure, man, because it's so much more solid now, the story, and tight, like it tells
right. Flow matters. People, they look at a lot of different things, and usually if it doesn't work, the flow's not there.
That's right.
You've got to have that consistency throughout the book. You can't just have action, and then nothing. You can't do too much of a slow burn and action and then back down. It's got to be like a roller coaster, man, to keep people on the ride.
You need to do something to get attention immediately.
Yeah.
Which I do believe in the first issue, the very first couple of pages is kind of like a silent treatment of these two very important characters in the story. That does, grab attention. But yeah, man, the structure of the story, and then also like for it taking as long as it did, like I said, I was getting better as an artist, just so the first 20 pages weren't as good as the last 30 pages, and to then go back and try to be like, now this is number page, this is comic 1.
Yeah.
It's like trash versus number 4. Like that was my opinion of where I'd come. And even now, like I went back after I finished all 5 issues because everything is done. I went back to every issue and redid panels, some of them entire pages, just because I needed.
I'm actually doing that right now myself.
Consistency in the artwork, man. It's hard. Like it's hard. It took so long to keep that consistency across the board.
But I tell you, man, look at it like this too. Somebody brought this to my attention. It's kind of like a marker, that you don't need to overdo going back, because look at Marvel, look at DC. They have multiple artists on a book, and you have different art. And as you develop, it gives you something to look back on and say, hey, look how damn awesome I am now. You can go back. It's like a totally different artist did that issue.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
right, man. But it's also funny because I'll go back sometimes and be like, hey, that's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
I
that
know exactly what you mean. Yeah, you go back and you look at some stuff and you're like, what the hell was I thinking that day? You look at the perspective and you're like, oh my God, that don't work. It look like it looks like his damn neck's broke. Nobody would actually.
the faces just feel like
Yeah.
I actually did get the first issue printed of that first run that I did. That I started all over now, and
Yeah.
I still have it, and I love just looking at it because, like, good lord.
Yeah.
I actually remember bringing it to try to sell it to publishers at the New York Comic Con. I don't know, 2016, 2017 maybe. And I remember going
Right.
to, I think it might have been Boom. They had, to their credit, they had editors there who would take anybody's stuff and take a look at it. I remember bringing it over, and the guy opening it up and goes, "Look." I'm not kidding.
That's never a good sign.
I
Yeah.
know, and it's fine, man, because I look at it now and I have the same reaction. But it's funny to see where I've come from to where I'm.
Yeah.
Just it's something. If you love it, you'll work on it and you'll get better. That's no other way to do it.
I'll tell you. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Well, tell me this: how do you get in the headspace that you need to create? What kind of things kind of inspire you and light you up and get you ready to go? On the book.
That's tough, man. It's different every time. I keep stuff around me that it's like little trinkets and the pictures of family and books and things like that kind of like all kind of have meaning that can bring me back into that headspace. But there is once you get going, there is sort of like a Zen headspace that you get in, and you just work, and time just melts away. You know, I've been, like I said, I started this when my first daughter was born, roughly around then, and I have two of them now, and they're 11 and
Wow.
13. And you get in that Zen headspace, and then they kick open the door and they're coming in screaming and dancing and stuff like that. You have no choice but to it breaks your concentration, and that's just the way it is.
Oh
You
yeah.
try to get it back when you can, and it's hard, man. You can't just drop in, like it really is. Like if you go and see like I just saw recently, what was that movie called? In a Violent Nature. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
It's sort of like it's all shot from it's basically Jason Voorhees. But it's all shot.
Yeah. I've seen the previews to it. I haven't watched it yet though.
It's kind of art house, and literally in some moments it's boring because it's literally Jason just walking through the woods. That's essentially.
Is that the one where it's kind of like from his point of view though?
Yeah, it's like right over his shoulder, almost like.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but like. And then it's funny because they'll show clips of the teenagers and as he's just sort of out in the woods watching them, and they're having their dialogue, and the dialogue's terrible, but none of that mattered because of what they were going for was just showing you his perspective.
Right.
It was as brutal as you'd imagine. There's one it's called the yoga death scene that is like infamous now in horror. But that kind of thing, man, going to check out new movies or what other people doing, or just talking to my friends who are doing their own thing in different mediums. I have friends who are big into they work for DreamWorks and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Like the most recent Garfield movie, just talk to them about what that experience is like, what they worked on, that kind of thing. Just getting inspired that way, man.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, I think I've taken enough of your time up, Andrew. I can't say how much again. I thank you for being on and just,
really appreciate you having me, man.
allowing me to take up some of your time, man, and ramble on in your ear.
I talk about comics and this kind of stuff all the time, so I appreciate you having me.
And hey, best of luck with the campaign. And all you people, like I said, get down there in the description. Jump on there. I made it easy, guys. I made it easy. All you got to do is hit the link. It takes you straight there. And guess what? Go ahead and jump on there and back. Like Andrew said, he's got tiers where he can put you. I mean, he'll draw you as a Union soldier.
Yeah,
he'll basically draw you however you want to be drawn.
That's what you want. It's up to you. And like I said, I got 10 more days left on that Kickstarter. And then, like I told you before the show, I'll be at Hershey at my first Comic-Con this weekend.
Best of luck with that too, dude. Hey, y'all, if anybody's in the Hershey area, check him out. Get
Yeah,
over there, get some books.
love to meet you guys.
Andrew, thanks again, man.
Appreciate it, Jerry.
Appreciate it. Hey, that's a show, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.